right, it's time for some quick fire.
Is it gonna be quick though? Is it gonna be quick?
We're gonna have to
Mm,
Gotta
make it
be.
quick.
mm,
All
mm.
right. So our hosts have some topics to share, but we only have 3 minutes to discuss and 1 minute to hear from the audience. So please make sure you're typing those comments fast. Any topics where the hosts will not shut up, we're going to use the dreaded mute button and they can save their comments for the after show. Let's do it. All right, I'm up first. I wanted to talk
Wah,
about
wah.
Kim Potter. By now, most of us have heard of Officer Kim Potter, who fatally shot a black man, Daunte Wright, during a traffic stop last April in Minnesota. Her taser, and she said she intended to grab her taser instead of her gun, and she shot him. Now, Potter faced up to 25 years after being convicted on first and second degree manslaughter charges, but prosecutors felt 7 years was reasonable. Well, the judge, Regina Chu, felt differently, instead, giving her only 2 years, including time served and 8 months on probation. The judge defended her ruling, stating, quote, "This is not a cop found guilty of murder for using his knee to pin down a person for 9.5 minutes as he gasped for air," calling Potter a cop who made a tragic mistake. At one point, the judge was seen tearing up. And Daunte Wright's mother responded, saying, "This is the problem with our justice system today. White women's tears trump
Mm,
justice." So, my
mm.
question
Speak on it.
is
Speak
two
on it.
years too little time? Let's start with Ellen.
Yeah, answer yes. I think that the bullshit. I think that the judge kind of threw out a bullshit argument saying that the only kind of police brutality against Black people is the extreme of George Floyd. That's not how it manifests every day. You know what I mean? It manifests in things like this, and people getting off for, getting a short sentence, for something like this. Yeah, I absolutely think
Okay.
that it was too short.
All right, Robbie.
She's being treated like a kid.
Yeah, I feel the sentence in this case is a little short, 2 years, and I think she only has to do 2/3, and then there's potential for time off with good behavior. That seems a little bit lenient, given that someone did lose their life, whether it was accidental or not. It was a
Yeah.
killing, and yeah, 2 years is definitely a little light for me.
Liz.
So this judge, Regina Chu, just put into question all of her previous judgments and sentencing throughout her entire time on the bench. She was tearing up, and like you said, she
Mhm.
was asking the public to empathize with the accused. It's not her place to do that. And it begs the
No.
question whether she was empathizing instead of handing down a fair sentence.
Mm,
If she was tearing up when she was deciding on the sentence for this particular police officer and decided, okay, well, I'm going to empathize with her, and she didn't really mean to do it.
mm,
And she's not like Derek Chauvin or Chavin or however you say his name.
Chauvin.
And so that's not fair either for the family. The same thing happened in the
Yeah.
Amber Geiger case. Amber Geiger was the police officer in Dallas who went into the wrong apartment and shot and killed someone. And the judge, after that, hugged her after handing down her sentence. So, no, I'm not for this at all. And I question whether or not this sentence was fair and unbiased, if you
Okay.
will.
All right, so I'm gonna give myself about at least 15 seconds. So I am of a differing opinion. I think 2 years is reasonable, actually. I mean, I might have gone for 5. I'll say I might have gone for 5 with the ability for probation for good behavior, but there are a ton of evil, racist, psychopathic cops out there who don't, and I don't think Kim Potter is one of those cops. We're all human. We all make mistakes. She made a fatal mistake in the heat of the moment, and she should pay for that mistake. 2 years I think is a little lenient, but
A lot lenient.
she needs to pay with some years. I just don't think 25. I think 7 years was excessive as well. Um, I'm just saying. That's what I think. I think
I'm just disagreeing.
putting myself
That's what
in
I'm
that
saying.
position,
Yeah.
if I made a mistake
I'm
like
just
that, I
disagreeing.
wouldn't want
That's
to
what
be
I'm
in,
saying.
in, in jail for
And I wouldn't
25
trust
years.
this judge for any
Well,
other sentencing in the future. Would not trust her.
yeah.
Would not trust her.
Also, you shouldn't. but that's, like, put it in the lens of, well, I wouldn't want to be sentenced for 7 years. You wouldn't want to be sentenced for anything. Like, that's
But
not
but
Hello,
realistic.
understanding that I made a
hello,
mistake, but understanding I made a
hello.
mistake,
But
I
there are
it's
consequences to your
there's
mistakes. So
cons and I agree with consequences,
Yeah.
if you were a
but not
civilian, and
equivalent
you, but if you
consequences
were
to
a
someone who's not
civilian
who
and
did it
you
on
if you were
purpose.
a civilian and you accidentally pulled out your gun and shot and killed someone, guaranteed you would have got at least 20
I'm
to
just
life.
saying I don't think it should be equivalent
Guaranteed,
consequences to someone who made a mistake.
guaranteed you would have gotten 20 to life.
All right, so
Guaranteed.
we're going online.
Plus you,
So
got plus you,
okay,
plus
okay,
you
okay.
brown.
All
You're a
right, all
black.
right, all right. So the judge showed more compassion. This is Jacqueline Robinson. The judge showed more
Because
compassion for
I
Miss
cannot
Potter
be walk to
than
death.
she did the victim and his family. Imagine 2 years and $1,000 for a human life. The only thing she did was to come off the bench and give Miss Potter a Bible and stroke her hair. Mike Winter says, "How
And
do you
in
throw out the
everyone else
sentencing?"
feels sorry for her.
Mike Winter says, "How do you throw out the sentencing guidelines for those powerful white women tears? And fatal mistakes have sentencing guidelines." So, I mean, I totally agree with all of those comments. I think 5 years would have been reasonable. All right, that's it for that one. So
Well,
let's.
remember that. When you caught up,
So
when
we
you
calling
zoomed
that?
up in the
What are we
face,
calling on that?
Then we yeah. What are we calling? Thank you, Rob. Is that truth, lies, or? I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Ellen's. What did yours say, Ellen?
Racist bullshit.
racist bullshit. Call it out, Ellen.
I'm, I'm going.
And a
I'm gonna
college
go with some truth and
and a
maybe some
college
shenanigans.
student shall lead them. And a college student shall lead them.
I think 2 years is a little lenient, but I think a lighter sentence is reasonable in this situation. All right, so let's get into our quick fire number 2. Lizzie, what's up?
Oh my god.
Mm.
So we are talking about now a former DC police officer who got caught up in some shit. Woo! So he
I can't.
was caught up in a sting in which he was found to have been in a car performing sex acts, engaging in sex acts with a 16-year-old, which per DC law, a 16-year-old is under the age of consent. And so he was arrested and he was charged with 2 counts of sexual misconduct. Now, there are a lot of people who are on different sides of this equation. A lot of people are saying, but he was a police officer, a decorated police officer. And let me just announce the age difference in this. Police officer was 53. Child, the person that he was engaging with, 16. So the question is
Mm-mm.
becoming, a lot of people have been talking about this, including Blade magazine, talking about what should the age of consent be? Is 16 too old? Is
Just
16 not eligible for someone to be under the age, for someone to be considered a child
Mhm.
when it comes to sexual activity, especially with an adult?
Let's
Were
start
you
with
saying
Robbie.
something, Neil?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sorry, I was gonna say that he was arrested in Florida, not DC, and where the age of consent is 18. So, Robbie,
Yeah. Yeah. The age difference really struck me as something wrong. I mean, 53 and 16. I mean, you're being a predator, whether you want to
Oh,
admit it or not. You're being a predator,
oh.
and I know that in Florida, when I was looking into this, that a person of 16 years old can engage in sexual activity with someone who's 18 to 23.
There is a
So
limit.
yeah, so if you're 16 or 17, you can engage in sexual acts with someone 18 to 23. Okay, that kind of puts it in that right age range. You're experimenting, you're just trying it out. At 53, you know what the hell you're doing, and you're preying on a piece of candy. That's just, it's gross.
Ellen.
And also, I think, just
Yeah.
very
Oh,
quickly before we get to Ellen,
sorry.
I think that the age 18 to 23 allows for a 16-year-old to date someone in high school, right? A 17-year-old, an 18-year-old. At 16, I dated a senior in high school.
All right,
53, that would
let's
have
get to
been,
Ellen.
around my dad's age. Not
Yeah.
appropriate.
We got that.
Ellen?
So,
Yeah. So This guy, this is like I find this especially despicable because he's preying on a young gay kid. This kid, I don't know, from the Blade article, they said that they're not sure whether he was out to his parents or not or whatever. He he was like a kid in a candy shop. Like when you're a young gay kid, you're just grasping for like to be around people who are gay. You know what I mean? You are like more, I would say, more susceptible than like a 16-year-old straight person. This guy knew what he was doing. Like he's been a 16-year-old gay kid before. He should know better that this kid is gonna like jump at any opportunity he gets. Yeah,
Mm.
this is like, yeah, it's predatorial. It's
And
disgusting.
I'm just agreeing with Liz and I'm sorry, Rob and Ellen. So Liz, you got about 15 seconds if we can do it quick.
I just want to remind people that the child bride laws in this country are still not in effect for a lot of states. In some states, the age of consent for a child marrying an adult is 14. In some states,
Ooh.
15. In some states, 16. This was a source of contention last year in the state of North Carolina, where they're trying to get the child bride laws passed, where you have to at least be 18. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. In no way, shape, or form
Hmm.
should a 53-year-old man should be trolling the internet looking for 16, 15, 16 year
Yeah.
olds and then engaging in sex with them, especially if you are a police officer and you know the law in the
Yeah.
state. Neo made a point to say he's a police officer in DC, but this was in Florida. He knows the law. It's his responsibility to know the law.
Yep.
That's his responsibility, not the child.
All right, real quick. So one comment from Jacqueline Robinson: he wouldn't have been arrested. My own parents would have beaten him into bad health and then called the police to turn
Especially
themselves.
my mother. Especially my mother.
Yeah, that was a good
Mhm.
topic. Yes, thank you for bringing that to our. Oh, one more, two more comments, real quick. Narcissistic abuse. This is from Jeanette Brown. Power and control. Sherry Blaine Priest says sexual predators know exactly what they are doing.
Mhm.
All right,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
Mm.
is what are we calling this? Are we calling this truth, lies, or shenanigans? This is some shenanigans going on here.
Just no, 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 no.
Shenanigans and fuck this dude.
And all bullshit.
I love it, Dylan.
You gave me a lot of paddles.
Yeah,
I got like 6.
you're using them
They're like double
effectively.
sided.
It's awesome, and they're double sided.
Yeah.
All right. And our fan topic this week came from Jacqueline Robinson regarding the Ahmaud Arbery trial, where witnesses talked about how Arbery's killers used racist slurs and often talked about how they wanted to violently harm Black people. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into that in our show today. So we're going to spend some time in the after show. And also, I think Robbie Rock wants to update us on the trucker convoy in Canada, where they're using kids as human shields. So
The freedom convoy, the freedom, freedom.